Hi there YouTubers and 3D Studio Max enthusiasts. In today's episode we're going to talk about 3D Studio Max and the scene tab from the render setup. So stay tuned and follow me, we have a lot of things to discuss. So now we're going to talk about the Corona render scene setup. So the first thing is general settings, as you can see here. The first button is show frame buffer. This is the frame buffer. This is called frame buffer. The second button is called the start interactive. If I click on this, it's gonna start doing interactive. So it's gonna be real time. I can click on this and with Alt and middle, it's gonna move. As soon as I stop, he's going to try to render the final image. This button start interactive can start also from here. If I with left click mouse button pushed, I can use start ER, so start interactive renderer. Yep. This is exactly the same button, these two. I'm gonna stop it. If I choose render, it's just gonna render the full image, not the interactive. The second one is the setup Lightmix, which is going to generate a light mix for us. I'm gonna generate it now. And in the moment that I'm going to render, not show this, it's gonna render an image. Now it's starting. I can go here in the last tab and I have all the lights from the scene. So the first one is the environment, which is the white color, which affects the colors and the lights in the scene. It's working as a light, so I can have two, for example, so more light coming from the environment. I can also change the color of the light. I can make it red in this case, or more pinkish. Yep. The second one is the Corona light, is the only light that we have in scene that we created other episodes. So it's this one, it's here. And I can also change the color of that light. As you can see, it's yellow, but to see that, yeah, I need to make this to default white, black. I'm gonna use one here. So now you can see a little bit that it's more yellow. I can make it more, see? Becoming more or less. Okay, I can also give it more power, so I can have 10, 0, 1, and so on. And the rest is called rest and unassigned. In this case, I don't have anything out there in the scenes, but most of the time, if you use Corona light material, for example, is going to be here, the rest. Then all these settings that I made here, for example, I can have here too, I can apply to the whole scene. So all the settings that I'm doing here, at the end, I can apply them to the scene. So I can save it and I can use them later on. This is a Lightmix config. And I can also load it from that saved that I made. I can also use toggle all, so select and select, put all of them to 1, so to original, okay? But they're all gonna be to 1, but the color is still gonna stay yellow, yeah? So that's not gonna change. And I can change all of them to white. So if, for example, if I put this to red, the second one to blue, and the last one that doesn't have anything, any color on it, it's gonna be to green. And I can click on this button and make all of them white. Do you really want to reset all? Yes, and it's gonna be back to white. Okay, so this is what the Lightmix, I just explained you very fast. Then the next one is the open material library. Corona render is coming with a library inside, so it's much easier for you to have a starting point for any material. Clicked on it, okay. So this is the material library from Corona. You can also open this from here, open Corona material library. So this open material library is the same as this one. So if I click on this and I click on this, here we're going to find some materials from Corona. The first one is our hairs. That probably you're not going to use that much, but then you have some basic SS, which is like caramel, honey, fog, and so on. Some car paints, concrete, fabrics, and so on. You can use all these materials for free. You can also change them. The only thing that you can't do is to sell or give to someone else the textures that are inside here. So for example, to the stone, if you go to the stone, it has some textures inside. See, this one is a very nice texture. and you can't sell or give this texture to someone else. So this is very important to know. Okay, I'm gonna close this for now. Then the next thing is called progressive rendering limit. What does it mean? Right now, if I render this image and I start clicking rendering, this is going to render forever. I'm going to post here to start this. So the program is gonna start rendering this forever, because also in reality, when we are looking at the real renderings, so what we're seeing through our eyes, the light is coming and is bouncing forever. Well, actually not forever, until the photons are coming from the sun. They're entering your room and they're bouncing inside the room so many times until you're going to see something inside your room. So what is this actually meaning? I'm gonna make a sketch for you, so it's gonna be much easier for you to understand. Give me a second to add my, okay, our Photoshop up this for now, just to explain exactly how it's actually working. So what I'm going to create is, I'm gonna create a section to a room with a window, and I'm going to explain you, change this to color. For my drawing. We have a room. Make a section through here. Here we have a window. These are the walls, the floor, another wall. I'm gonna erase this part. So we have and now I'm going to create a small sun in here. I'm going to choose a color for it, just more like this. This is the sun, our sun. And the sun is sending photons to Earth, and the photons are arriving to Earth. And for example, the first photon is coming, and is entering the room, is hitting the floor, then is changing with exactly the same angle, touching the wall, then the ceiling, then is coming back here, and is touching this, and so on and so on. It's gonna go like this. Until the room is going to get illuminated. So because all these photons are coming all the time and they are moving inside the room all the time, at one moment the room is going to be illuminated, because all these photons, which are light particles, are gonna illuminate the room. So what this means? It means that this can happen forever. As much as you get the sun photons, this is gonna move forever. Okay, I explained this. Hope you guys understood from my sketch a little bit. Now let's move back to 3D Studio. So in Corona it's working exactly the same. So if you render something in Corona, this is gonna go forever. It's never gonna stop. How do you know when your render is done? Well, you can use a pass limit. For example, when I start rendering, the program is telling me render initial pass 1, 2, 5, 7, and so on. So now I can see here that my render is looking good at 10 passes, and I can tell the program that in 10 passes I want you to stop. So now I'm gonna do rendering again, and when the program is gonna achieve the 10 passes, it's going to stop, and my render is going to be done. So now this is my render after 10 passes. Another thing that we can do is to tell the program that when we have a noise limit, he should stop. So for example, now after 10 passes, my noise level here is 1.84. So I can tell the program that after 2% noise level, he's going to stop. So I hit, and as you can see here, he's going to try to achieve that noise level. But if he's going to achieve the noise level earlier, so he's going to achieve the 2% noise level before finishing the 10 pass limit, he's still going to stop. So he's going to stop even if you have a pass limit. If he's achieving the passes here, So he's going to stop if he's achieving the pass limit or the noise level. Another thing that I can do, I can tell him a time limit. So I can tell him, for example, after 1 hour, after 25 minutes, or after 5 seconds. So for example, if I choose here 5 seconds, he's gonna start rendering. After 2 seconds, after 5 seconds in this case, he's going to stop. So after 5 seconds, I have a 2.52 noise level. So he didn't achieve the noise level here. He made 6 out of 10 pass limit, so he didn't achieve the 10 pass limit that I told him, but he achieved the 5 seconds. So all the time when you make a rendering, you need to know exactly how much time you have to make that. So you can use one of these three, all three in the same time. Yeah, this is how you will know. Yeah, many of you are gonna ask me in the comments, hey, but how can I know exactly how much time do I need? Or for me personally, I use a noise level limit. If a noise level limit of 2, it's more than enough to have a good render. Even a 3 is quite good, or you can have a 200 pass limit with a noise level of 3, and yeah, the time you can just leave it 0, or you can put as much as you think you have. It's called the save resume rendering. What is this actually doing? This is very nice when you have, for example, very big scenes and it's taking like, I don't know, I'm gonna just give an example, like 10 hours of rendering, and after 2 hours you realize that you have something to do and you need to use your computer. You can just save this and stop the rendering and resume the rendering later. So how is this actually working? You need to save on CXR somewhere on your computer. You just save it, you render, you stop it, and you say resume left, and it's gonna start to resume from where it left. You can also save this and it's gonna open the file and it's gonna render from that part. The next thing, so this is quite good. I'm gonna explain this later. Okay, the next thing is render overrides. For example, if you have hidden lights in the scene, if you use a layer and you have a hidden layer and you want to render also those lights, you can have this checked and it's gonna render also those lights. This is only to render only mask. So if I render like this, it's gonna show nothing because he's rendering only the mask. I can show you how to add a mask in here. You can go add here and you can say, okay, let me see which one are masks. And I can add some other ones, components, shadows, wire color, for example. And if I render this, so I can render only mask. See, this can be used as a mask anyway. So you can render much faster, but not the render, but only the masks that you have in the scene. Then the next thing is called material override. What is this actually doing? You can use here in the none create a material that it can be a glass or a white or a black material, for example, and he's going to use that material for the whole scene. So everything in the scenes is going to receive that material. So I'm gonna take the Corona Legacy material, this is how, and just add it here with instance. So whatever changes I'm going to do to this is gonna change also there. And I'm gonna make this material blue. And in the moment that I'm going to render, as you can see what I have here, everything is going to be blue. This is also very useful, for example, if you, every time when I'm doing an interior scene with a room or an interior scene or a bar or whatever you have in the interior scene, and you need to adjust the lights, you just make a white render and you can adjust your lights and it's going to render much faster than having different textures and materials in there. Here you can have also, you can exclude some objects. So for example, I can tell him that this, I'm going to call it table 02, and I can tell him that I want to exclude table 02, and I put it here, send it, exclude, yeah, it's going to exclude illumination, okay, and the moment that I'm rendering, everything is going to be blue, but my table stays white, because I excluded my table from the rest of the scene, from the rest of the material override, okay. Then what's next? Next thing that we have here, it's called denoising. What is this actually doing? So for example, if I create a render, as you can see here, the program leaves some noise. The rendering is going till it's achieving noise level 2, which is this. You can see it here. You can also see it, as you can see here in the shading, shadows, you can see some noise. So what is this going to do? So for example, you have different types of denoising, and only Firefly and removal is the most basic one. The next one, and quite a new one, is the NVIDIA GPU. You need to have a very good graphic card for this to make it work. And for example, if my scene doesn't have enough RAM, actually my graphic card, this is not going to work, but I can show you how it is actually working. So this is 0 and this is 1. Yeah, you can't see too much of a difference in here. So the program is giving me an error. Set the image filter. I don't know if you guys actually can see it or not, but this is without the denoising and this is with the denoising on. So he's trying to clear all that small noise in the image to make it look perfect. About the denoising, I'm gonna make a video about all of this in a different video. Anyway, for now, let's talk about, this is the first one. The second one is the Intel CPU IE. You need to have, of course, Intel CPU to make this work. I have a dual Xeon computer, so it's gonna work very well with this. This is the fastest one and I really like it. Then you can have a Corona high quality. This is the slowest one, but it's also the best one. But this is rendering and it's doing the denoising. You can see now it's rendering the whole scene, and then after it's going to finish all the passes, he should go doing the denoising. So as you can see, it's gonna use 15 passes to denoise the image, and he's gonna start to cleaning by different levels of denoising. Yeah, this is the best quality that you can get with a denoiser. This denoiser is better than any other render engine out there. So it's better than V-Ray in my opinion. This one is truly one of the best. And then we finished with, the last thing that we have talking about the denoising is gather data for later. What is this meaning? It means, for example, if you save your file as a CXR, so from here, from common, we're gonna go and save our file, not a JPEG, but this time we're going to save this as a CXR, which is a Corona image, Corona XR image. Save it and you hit render. What you can do the denoiser after you finish the render. So the program is going to render the whole image. It's gonna save some information about the denoising, and he's gonna put all of that information in the file so you can use it later. So how is that working? You need to have the Corona image editor installed. This is coming by default with the Corona render. Is it here in my case, or you can just go to and find it in program files in Corona. This is the Corona image editor 7. Here I can go and open. This is going to open my CXR file that I saved in document, Studio Max 2020, in output, render output, and I'm gonna test render CXR. I'm going to open. As you can see, this is my render and this is my denoiser, and here I can customize what I wanna denoise, what kind of denoise I wanna have. This is only the high quality, and then I can click denoise, and he's going to do the denoising all over again for my image, for the CXR. And this is how denoiser is working if you just save the information inside the file, and you can use it later on for denoising your image. Okay, I hope this is clear. I'm gonna stop it for now because I don't need to show you how it's working. It's working, as you can see here. But this is also quite important because sometimes the denoiser can take a lot of time, and this is much faster to do all of that. I'm gonna exit without saving all of this. I'm gonna go back to scene. Where were we? At the render selected. This render selected is kind of similar to the one that we discussed earlier in the common tab here in the area to render. So selected region, blow up, and so on. This is a little bit different, but it's doing exactly the same thing. You can exclude objects that you want to render. For example, I'm gonna say I want the table 02 include illumination, okay. and in the moment that I'm gonna start to render, it's gonna render only that table, but with all the colors and materials from there. I'm gonna stop this for now. Okay. Then you can have a viewport selection, so you can make a selection in the viewport with selecting a couple of objects. I'm gonna select this and this, and it's gonna render the table and the floor. And the other ones they're not gonna be rendered, they are the two tables, but he's still going to make a cut inside. So what she's actually showing me is the environment that I couldn't select the environment, so it's totally black. So right now, actually I have a cut in my floor showing the environment because he's not rendering those two tables, yeah? And I can also use an object gbuffer ID. Yeah, you can put IDs to the objects, and you can say, okay, this table is object ID number 1, this table is object ID number 2, and so on. How do you do that? You just click on it, you right click on the object, you go to object properties, and here on the properties we have an ID. It's called gbuffer object ID. So for example, if I'm putting 1 to this, okay, and here I go and I say 1, and it's going to render only the middle table, as you can see. The cool thing about this program, about Corona Render, it's that it's very intuitive and it's very easy to use. So I guess this is why many people are actually using it, and there are many people which are totally in love. Okay, the next thing, and not the last, is called the scene environment, where you can have more about the environment. In this case we have a white environment. I can change the color of the environment directly from here. So right now when I'm rendering, he's using the 3D Studio Mask scene environment map, which is in the environment map, rendering environment, or pushing the 8, yeah, from the keyboard. I open this is the environment, and here in this environment I can have a texture or I can have a color. This color is actually the background from here, so these two are exactly the same. If I change this to blue, it's changing also here. See? What I can do, I can use this, or I can go here and change to a single map or to a different color. I use a red in this case. And now I'm just telling to the program, don't use that environment settings that we had before, just use this single map and this color that I want. Because the object buffer ID is on, it's rendering only that table, but I can change this right away. I'm just gonna go to disable this. And the moment that I'm rendering, all my environment is going to be red, so everything is going to look like this. The cool thing is that because I use the Lightmix, when I go here in the Lightmix, my environment, I can still change the color of the environment if I want. So for example, I can go to green, and what he's going to try to do, he's going to mix the red color that we already have in there with the green that I'm choosing here. So yeah, this can be quite difficult to, for example, to achieve a different, exactly the color that you want when your environment is already red or blue. So for example, if I go to blue, he's changing the red with blue, and I end up having this violet color. If I'm going to the red is going to be much more powerful. See, this was more like a pink, but now if I'm choosing another red, it's going to be more like red. If I'm choosing a yellow, it's changing to an orange. If I'm choosing a green, it's going to be, I don't know what's the name of this color, to be honest, so I'm just going to pick up a blue, so it's going to be a violet. So yeah, this is how it's working. Then the next thing is called the multiple maps with a Lightmix. What here I can do, I can choose like different textures, 2 maps in this case, and in the end I can render a scene, like an exterior, like so let's say this is an exterior, that's a sun, and these are some tables, and I'm going to have different backgrounds for this. So I'm just gonna choose actually I can just choose for the purpose of this 2 different colors. For you just to see it, I can have a red and I can have a blue, and I'm gonna use the setup Lightmix, generate, close, and now I'm gonna render. So what he's going to do, is, as you can see here, I have environment and environment. I have two environments. One is blue and the other one is red. So this is very cool because if you are using HDRI, HDRI is a high dynamic image, you can use two different environments and in the end to end up having the same angle, the same render, but with two different environments with two different lights. So this is quite amazing because there are not that, I mean, now there are more and more programs doing this, but as you can see, you can have a red scene and you can have a blue one from the same render. This is very amazing. I'm gonna go back to my single map and make it white for now. And the last thing, it's called override. So what this means, can override already the settings that I have in the scene. So for example, I have a single map here, white. I want a direct visibility override and I want to use here a blue color. And when I start rendering, all the settings that I had on the upper part are gonna be overridden by this. Yeah. So because I changed that, and also for example, if one of the objects has a reflection on it, how we had on this table, I can change the reflection on that color also, and also the refraction. So for example, the reflection, I'm gonna make it green, and the refraction, I'm gonna make it yellow. For this, I need to have an object that is gonna change this to white also. I'm gonna make very quickly a material that is can see through. Yeah, this one, I'm gonna say glass material. Just move it here. Glass material. I'm gonna make this refraction. I'm gonna make the refraction one, and I'm gonna put some reflection on it also. Actually, I'm gonna take the reflection out just for you to see what's going to happen. And I'm gonna apply it here. I'm gonna hit render. So as you can see, he's doing some refraction. I need to go a little bit more. Yeah, this is the best angle to view how it's going to look. So as you can see everywhere, so the direct visibility in this case, it's blue because all my environment is blue because of this color. The reflection of the objects that I have in the scene, this has a reflection and this has a reflection above and so on, is becoming green. And the refraction, so everything that is see-through, is becoming yellow. It's not becoming, his reflection is going to be yellow, his reflection is going to be green. It's also going to work exactly the same if I'm using different environment maps inside of here. And the last one, and less important, is the global volume material. Where I can use a global material like Corona Volume MTL, and what's going to have, we're going to create a material that is global everywhere. I just want to disable my Lightmix. It's giving me an error. And now. And for my global volume material, I'm going to use a material that is already made. It's here. It's this folk material that I'm going to click and move it. It's not working like that, unfortunately. I need to open the material slot. I'm gonna add my material here. And from here, I'm gonna add my volume material here. And now I can hit render, close this. As you can see, it started to render really slow. Because what it's actually doing is actually putting this fog material in all the scene. But my scene is also infinite right now, so this means that he's trying his best to render all of this. Anyway, I'm going to have an episode talking only about this fog material and how it is working. So these are my hints and my explanation for rendering Corona. The other tabs are called the camera tab. I'm going to make a video only about this in the near future. And the other one is called the performance tab. And here are the performance for Corona to make it work faster or slower. The last one is the system, which has to do with your license and some system settings that you can make from here. Yeah, this in the past all of these things were in development, but now I see they kind of okay, close. And the last one is called the render elements. What are the render elements? They are passes inside the render, and you can do different things with it. So our render right now, if I make a render quite fast, actually our render elements, I'm gonna add all of them just to show you very quickly how is it working. All the render elements. So when I create a render, he's not actually creating only a render image, the program. Oh, stop. Take out that global volume material, render again. So when I create a render, here you see here a very beautiful render, but in reality behind all this render, he's actually creating different maps, different elements that he's combining them into one image. And all those images are actually this. So for example, this is the direct, it's called CS Corona Essential Direct, and this is the direct light from this light. See, it has some shadows, and it's only this. All of this, the next one is called emission. In this case, we don't have an emission material, only the light that you can see there. It's emitting photons, as I said. Then we have the indirect illumination, which is coming from the environment. We have the reflection, that it's green because of the reflection override. We have the refraction, that it's reflecting the yellow because of the refraction override, and so on. All of these can be used in different programs and also in 3D Studio Max and in other programs for creating different effects and different things. We're gonna use a couple of them, but not all of them. But yeah, it's good to know that you have them there and that you can use them, because we'll see later on how we can actually use a couple of them. That was all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments what did you find very hard to understand and what you would like me to explain again in the future in a new video or in other videos. Please subscribe. Don't forget to share the video if you have friends who are thinking to learn 3D Studio Max and Corona and view my videos. It's all free in the end. And see you next time, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you didn't subscribe yet, please do it now. That's gonna help the channel, and I'm going to do more videos about 3D Studio Max, Corona render, modeling, texturing, and so on. So please thumbs up if you think the information that I'm providing here is useful for you, and see you on the next one. Bye!